going to learn a lot, so it'll be great.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Deputy Chief Mark Copeland. I'm with the Silvis Police Department here locally. I've been with the department for about 22 and a half years. Worked everything from patrol to undercover drug investigations for almost 8 years. So I've done a little bit of everything. Silvis, do we have the makeup of the room here? We got college and high school, or just high school in here? Just everybody, just high school? Oh, okay. And is everybody basically then from the area? So you kind of know where Silvis is, the size of the city and such. So basically what I put together is just when they asked me about teaching this class, I asked Dr. Onder kind of what he wanted, and he just mentioned basically some topics for safety and security in the real world. That's basically you guys in your everyday lives. I don't know age-wise if everybody drives, but that's, I'm going to touch a little bit about, driving if you're out and about at the mall, at schools, just ways to stay safe, help yourself, because a lot of police works partnerships with the public. And there are a lot of things that people can do to help limit their, risk and everything out and about. So I'm going to just kind of go over here a few things. Obviously, anybody has any questions, you can ask me anytime during the presentation, but I will also open it up to questions and comments afterwards, okay? Does that sound good? So again, when this you can just see up here, I didn't know exactly if it was going to be all college or high school. This is just where some of this information that I'm giving you can actually be found in writing. So when we talk about risk reduction, we're talking about ways that you can help yourselves and friends, family, when you're out and about, just basically living your everyday lives, whether you're at school, you're at the mall, wherever. And a lot of this is probably not going to be news to you, but it's important to go over, and it is definitely things that you can do that can help you. One of the first and foremost things is to be aware of your surroundings. That's your surroundings isn't just the actual location where you're at. Your surroundings is who you surround yourselves with as well. When you do go to a place, if you're at the mall, if you're at school, it's good to know where the exits are, entrances, exits, where if you're in a school, you may have a police liaison officer there, or maybe security guards. I'm not sure which high schools you go to, they have such. But it's important to always kind of be aware of who's there, and if things, and part of being aware is sometimes things stand out. You're used to, if you go to school all the time, you kind of know who classmates are, who's supposed to be around the buildings and such. Same things with your neighborhood. Who's driving around your neighborhood. Just be aware. It's really, I know it seems kind of silly to tell people to pay attention, but it does make a big difference. And a lot of times, when something is kind of out of the ordinary. Hey, this car, I haven't seen it in my neighborhood before. I haven't seen these people behind my neighbor's house things. So just kind of be aware there. Avoiding isolated areas, that's just basically, you don't want to go anywhere that's going to put you somewhere in jeopardy. You don't want to go in a dark, it kind of applies on campus, but I mean anywhere that you go, school-wise, you don't want to go in an isolated area where there isn't people, put you in a position. It's always kind of safer, to be out in public and not so much by yourself. Walking with a purpose, that's pretty much, if you're going to and from your car, most of you drive here, age-wise, or, you park at the mall, maybe you can't get a close parking spot, or you park on campus or somewhere. Kind of walking with a purpose means get to where you're going, look like that where you're going, that you belong at the place there. You don't want to look timid. If somebody's looking for somebody for whatever, to take advantage of somebody, whether it's stealing or something like that. They look, for body language, and to be able to tell, hey, this person, they're looking around, they're not familiar with this area, so that might make somebody, possibly an easy target for someone to come up if they want to steal something, or just to be, even just to be annoying. Getting basically from A to B as soon as possible, and looking like exactly where you're going. Trust your instincts. I'm sure everybody in here at one point in time, you'd kind of just get this feeling about something, right? Or something, and it doesn't have to be danger. It's just, it could be on a test. Sometimes you know, like there's something just tells you that, hey, I know the answer to this, or something here isn't right, or, you know, I need to do this instead of that. There's, you know, I don't know what it is, but there is something to your instincts and guts. There's, you know, and especially as you get older, you get life experiences, and the more experiences you have, I think that just plays kind of, you know, internally inside your head. Your body starts to know, and it just tells you. And so it's always important to trust your gut feelings. This is kind of 5 here. Just don't load yourself down with items. It's you know, the same thing. Whether you're leaving the mall, going to school, whatever. You know, you don't want to have a bunch of packages up where you can't see where you're going, or you don't have hands free. Just those are type of things that just would make it easier. You know, if you're carrying stuff, one, you don't have both hands. If you have to get in a situation where maybe you have to use your phone to call somebody or defend yourself, or even just to be able to see. I know a lot of times people might carry things in and they got packages up to their eyeballs, or whatever the case may be. So that's important. Carry your cell phone. With you guys being in high school, I probably don't need to tell you that, right? I'm sure everybody's got their cell phones and handy. Does it? Anybody here ever had to use the cell phone to call emergency contact and anything like that? I know a lot of times too, you know, it might seem silly to do, but you know, a lot of times if you're going to walk, if you got a little bit of a distance to walk, get on the phone with a friend or somebody, talk to them that whole way. That way, if something's going on, obviously with phones you can call 911, but cell phones it takes a little bit longer to maybe get you to the right place. You know, always having your phone, that's handy. It helps you. You know, you can use it for directions. You can use it for emergency calls and everything. So I imagine everybody here's got a phone, right? If I was a betting man. This kind of goes along with the other ones too, but don't allow yourself to end up isolated with someone, either people that you don't know or maybe someone you know and don't trust, right? And that kind of goes back to the gut, you know, trusting your gut feelings too. Sometimes you know if somebody's, you know, what somebody's intents might be, or you just don't trust their character. Maybe they've done something in the past and you just may not want, you know, to be with this person. So hey, don't go off down, you know, the hallway. Don't end up in the gymnasium alone with, you know, somebody. Try to stay places where it's public, you know, with people that you don't know, or you know, you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to get in a situation, be isolated with people you don't know and with people you know but don't trust. So that kind of speaks for itself. I don't know, we've got a lot of earbud wearers in here, or AirPod users in here, probably. I use them myself at home, and sometimes when I run, and you know, a lot of times when you have those, you don't know what's going on in your surroundings. Right? Run in Illinois, you're not supposed to drive with them. It's illegal to drive with headphones in. I don't know, you guys are probably more, you know, freshly out of driver's ed than even the older college kids, but you know, it's a lot of times, you know, especially if you're going to be out walking around, maybe keep one in and always keep an ear out, you know, for what's going on here. That just kind of goes back to being aware of your surroundings too. You may not see somebody coming up, but you know, you might hear them if you've got headphones on. You know, a lot of times you're jamming to your music and you're walking from point A to point B, so you can kind of see so far how all of this, they all kind of tie in together. Travel in groups when possible. I know you know, a lot of times, you know, people are in groups already, but you know, if you got trusted friends in groups and you're going to go out to, you know, a restaurant, the mall, a concert, anything like that, it's always a good idea to go in groups of people that you trust. Obviously, you don't go with the group the person that you know, thinks a little off. Your gut feeling says, hey, these people, you know, I don't know what their intentions are, or you know, I might not trust them because they've done X, Y, and Z at school, and So always travel in groups, so make sure it's a good group of trusted friends. That's one of the important things to remember. I'm going to include this because I'm not naive, but obviously high school age, we're not 21 yet for drinking or anything, but it doesn't even have to include alcohol. You could be somewhere, just non-alcoholic drinks. I don't want you to think, oh, it's just alcohol. Just anywhere, if you're you know, at a restaurant, at a you know, at a party, and I'm not talking about an alcohol party or anything like that, but just anything where you've got a drink and there's a bunch of people around, always be mindful. I would hold on to your drink. Don't take drinks from people that are not trusting. and such, just, in case, somebody were to perhaps put something in it unexpectedly. So that's that is a very important thing, especially as you get older, start to, you go out and about more as adults. That is a very important thing to remember. Obviously, I touched on 11, don't accept drinks from your people you don't trust. And again, that does not have to be in alcohol. It could be anywhere, someone giving you a pop at a restaurant or just at a party or somewhere that you're at. You definitely don't want to be accepting drinks from anybody that you don't know. Looking out for friends and each other, this kind of goes into the traveling in groups again. It's very important to know everybody has, as I talked about earlier, their own life experiences, right? And some people are more, I don't know if you've ever heard people considered street savvy, or kind of, there's common sense, there's people that kind of have street sense, and people who have more life experiences. So, when you look out for your friends and each other, sometimes somebody else might see something in another person, or something that's going on, or something that could be dangerous that you don't know. So especially a good friend, sometimes it's hard to tell a good friend something like, hey, that boy or that girl, is no good for you doing, this, and you don't need to be part of it. It's always important to have somebody, at least one person you can trust to tell you the truth. They may be mad at you for a little bit, but in the end, it's something that, being honest with friends, they'll come to appreciate when they get older. And so always looking out for each other. This kind of ties in the other ones. Automatic, call 911 if you suspect, somebody's been drugged. That could go with the drinks, but I would hope here people aren't vaping. I know that's kind of popular in high school, and I would be willing to bet most people in here probably know somebody that vaped and maybe had something in there that got sick, or there was something in it that wasn't there. That's very common, and we see that fairly often. So that's another thing about looking out for friends. I don't expect people to run around and tell on people and such, but there are, a lot of times somebody gets something, whether it could be a drink or some vape, something like that that's mixed with something that they're not aware of, and they make them sick and end up in the hospital. So that's, an important thing, that people look out for each other and maybe even keep them from those habits to begin with, but there's dangers that come along with those habits as well. And don't be afraid to tell, to get out of uncomfortable situations. If you've got a lie and say, hey, I've got a game tomorrow, I've got to be home early, or I've got homework. If you're somewhere and you don't want to be there for whatever reason, if someone's pressuring you to do alcohol, someone wants you to cheat on a test, whatever the case may be, trying to pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. It's all right to lie about it. Tell them you don't want to. If you've gone out with groups and friends, you can have code words, that, hey, if someone's making you uncomfortable, maybe your best friend knows. If you say cereal, they know that, hey, I don't want this person talking to me. I'm uncomfortable. Maybe I'm isolated with this person, and they want to help get you out of the area. Kind of touched on this a little bit earlier too, especially in schools. It's really nice to know where all the escape routes are, entrances and exits, even from the classrooms, and then from a classroom to a hallway, from a hallway to outside, or a hallway to another secure place. That's always great to know, and I'm sure people are from different size schools, but it is nice to know the layout as a school as much as possible, because that not only helps you if something were to happen inside, but it helps keep you from getting into isolated areas. It helps keep you, from ending up somewhere that you're not comfortable with. Because I know some of these schools, local schools are fairly large. And of course, 16 applies not just drinking, anything. I mean, if you're drinking, just doing anything, obviously you want to be in sound judgment. I think part of sound judgment would be, waiting until you're older to, drink or whatever the case may be. But you always want to make sure that you have sound judgment, and judgment is impaired, if people are drinking or they're doing, illicit drugs, things like that, or such. So that's a real important thing here. So all these kind of tie in. Before I move on to the next topic, does anybody have any questions specifically kind of with any of these here? Anybody have a situation they want to, not with getting details, but anything where hey, I've been in this situation and I use this because I knew the exits were here, or anything anybody want to share before I move on? Or? All right, fair enough. So again, somebody. Oh, I could have got that for you. You didn't look like you wanted it that much. All right. So that's risk reduction. That's kind of basic everyday principles. This is a little bit, and these are kind of ways to help keep you, I don't know if all of you have debit cards yet, or I'm sure ordering apps using your phone. A lot of this kind of applies to that with being careful who you're giving personal information to. Even best friends, because sometimes best friends, you guys have a falling out for a couple weeks, and so they know your passcode to your phone or something. You might buy some apps from on your phone or something like that. So it's always best to keep those, to yourself. It's good to let your parents maybe know what your PIN number is and things so they can get into it. But I would avoid giving that out to friends or really anybody, because even, you have a falling out with somebody, something could be used against you in there. Online, everybody's online probably quite a bit, or uses computers, I'd say quite a bit. The class before us was strictly on kind of cyber stuff earlier, so, but avoid clicking on links that you don't know. That's a good way to, your computer get infected with a virus, or you end up with, unwanted malware, or whatever the case may be. Anybody here actually shredding documents yet at the high school age? That's something important too. Don't just throw stuff. I can think of a handful of cases we had where people were even out pulling stuff out of the garbage, trying to get things, the information that might have your social security number, your date of birth, information that they may use to maybe open up a credit card or something like that. So it's always best to shred that if and when you can. Don't carry a social security card on you. I don't know. I know I did. I was guilty of this in high school. I was really never told. Anybody here carry their social security card on you? Anybody ever seen their social security card in person? But okay, yeah. So, that's definitely a big no-no to carry around. Make sure it's somewhere safe. Your parents probably have it somewhere for you, but you don't want to carry that. And carry cards that you need daily. I don't. Just show of hands, who has a debit card or a credit card? Well, that's pretty good there. So you just want to carry the cards that you need. If you got a debit and a credit card, and you maybe don't need both for that day, or if you got multiple credit cards or debit cards, it's not. I know with wallets, I carry a ton of stuff in my wallet. Someone carries a purse, might have a bunch of stuff in there, and you think, well, I'll just carry it all in there. Well, it all gets taken, and we see a lot of times someone gets a purse stolen or a wallet stolen. Someone tries to do something on every single card that's in there. They might even claim Hy-Vee rewards if you got a rewards card. So best to carry only what you need there. Track online accounts. Anybody track their own online banking? Do that themselves? Have their own account at all? So keep track of it. Keep track of it. Say, hey, every once in a while to look at it and see if what you're supposed to have $100 in here as of last Friday, and is it still in there? So that's important to do if you're banking, or it's not just even with banking, just any of the accounts here. I'm sure a lot of people have different accounts. Using the strong passwords, a lot of things now require, they require different things for the passwords, and a lot of now they kind of generate something that tells you, hey, we don't have all the, don't have all the necessary criteria if you got to have 2 capitals. So just use strong passwords too. That's, kind of. Just brief stuff to avoid being fraud, scammed, which is that's a lot of stuff that we see, just even local police departments, a heck of a lot of that. Any questions on any of that? No? All right. Oh, this was kind of a campus. It could apply to the school though too. Anybody have an ATM in their school? I don't know. The big school has been a while since I've been there. Probably know things, but even just out and about, surroundings in an ATM machine. Avoid carrying or flashing large amounts of cash. I don't know, seems like nobody really has cash anymore then. Everybody's got debit cards or probably something on some cash app, right? So I did see almost everybody drives, right? And everybody, I'm sure, has seen the news and probably go to school with people that have stolen cars, or there's cars getting stolen all the time, right? That's not news to everybody here, right? I would say 99% of those vehicles that are stolen, 1, are unlocked, and 2, usually have keys left in the car, believe it or not. Even after 3 or 4 years of campaigns and everything, people still leave them unlocked with, and the keys in them. So an important thing with cars here, always lock your doors, and keep any kind of value. If you've got to keep a computer or some other type of valuable in your car, keep it out of sight. Most people, if they're going to break into a car, they don't want to be detected. They want to be quiet. They don't want to break windows. Very rarely do we see cars getting windows broken for someone to get in. And the very few times that we do, it's because there's a laptop sitting right there, an iPad, whatever the case may be. So if you've got any valuables, it's best to either not store them in your car if you can't, or the trunk, or somewhere where they can't be seen. But always lock your car. That would help, avoid the car burglaries, and obviously getting your car stolen, which is quite a big thing around here lately. Anybody here know someone that's got their car stolen, or gone to school with somebody that's stolen a car or had their car stolen?
We had a bus stolen at our school.
You had a bus stolen? Oh, yeah. Well, it happens. We've just in our even small city, I don't know how many stolen cars, but it's gone up significantly the last few years. Well, they had East Moline, a couple of years ago, had a ambulance stolen and driven into the river, or fire truck, a fire truck, and almost driven into the river. All right, that's what it for prepared, but I thought maybe things that we didn't cover here that somebody may have a question for, or if just even have a general question about policing at all. I don't know who's all been out and about through anything there, so I'm open to questions about any topics you want to ask me.
What do you do?
So what do I personally do at work? So I'm the deputy chief. I do a lot of administrative stuff. I'm at a desk quite a bit. So my job daily is the police. So being the deputy police chief, I'm like a assistant principal type thing. So I oversee the day-to-day operations of the police department. The chief, he goes to a lot of meetings. He's away quite a bit, and he runs, and he's the one that says this is the direction we want the PD to go. And then I help implement that direction, but I oversee investigations and things at the police department, our body camera program, and a lot of that. I'll go out every once in a while we only have 2 investigators. If they only have 1 and they need an extra person to go do something, I go help with that, or have to go to court sometimes. But right now, I'm mainly just administrative position. So, yep.
How long have you been in the police?
About 22 and a half years. So since 2000.
What place did you work at?
Silvis.
Yeah. We came in with our class one day and we saw you sitting at a desk.
Yeah, that's.
With the department.
Okay, yeah, so I do a lot of desk work, yeah. I do get up from that desk though sometimes, I promise you, but.
Yeah, you look so mad.
So, there's a lot of that too, it's frustration, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to my position, but it's also being out and about on patrol is fun too. Sometimes you miss even though there's a lot to do out there, sometimes it's nice to have those responsibilities, not these responsibilities, and vice versa. So, yeah, but I'm mainly confined to an office or meetings. Yes, sir.
Would you say you prefer the desk job over the field job?
No, I wouldn't say I prefer it. I like both. So one of the perks I have are weekends and holidays off. And I work, Monday through Friday. Patrol, we have 3 different shifts on patrol, first, second, and third shift. And we have a very good rotating days off. So even the newest people get, like every other week's a 3-day weekend. So there's pros and cons to it. I like helping kind of guide and direct things, and with the new officers, I like seeing how they grow as people and the department grows. I do miss being out there at times. Sometimes there's a lot less stress for me out and about. We just deal with different things now. Out there, there's a lot of unknown. I kind of know what I'm dealing with here, but it's a constant flow of the same thing for me. So, yeah, it's just, when a lot of times, I worked patrol for I think about 8 years total, and I was investigation and such. So I've done a little bit of everything that our department has to offer and that police work has to offer. So, yeah, it just depends. I guess it depends what day. You'd have to ask me. Some days I'd rather be out on patrol. Some days this is great, just to be perfectly honest about it. So, yep.
What's like the craziest thing you've seen in 22 years?
The craziest thing I've seen? Well, I don't.
Like, have you seen like a drug addict like break dance against like a building wall? Or...
Oh, I've seen a guy like go Bruce Lee on a newspaper stand one time, just out of nowhere, just starts kicking and punching. I mean, you see a lot of everything because we deal with people that a lot of times it's not their best moments in their lives. You know, whether it's drugs or a lot of it is drugs or alcohol related, and some people do things. Fighting the newspaper stand. There's a little bit of that. I mean, you see a lot of terrible things too. A lot of things involving children, and there's death. I mean, there's a little bit of everything, but it was rewarding. When you're able to help help somebody. So I mean, there's to pinpoint down one crazy thing, no, but you see a lot. So I don't know if any of you have any police officers in your family. Usually that's who at holidays everybody's asking for the stories and wants the stories, and some of the stories aren't for, depends what the age level of the company and whatnot too. So not all stories can be told, I suppose. But I think was there another handout?
Oh yeah. Have you only worked for Silvis, or have you worked for others?
No, this is the only police department that I worked for. When I was finishing school through Western, I did an internship at the Rock Island County Sheriff's Department. And as part of that, I actually applied. So I worked at the jail for about 6 months before I got hired here while I was finishing my internship to get my degree.